Welcome back. Joining me right now is the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, Ohio Republican Congressman Jim Jordan. Mr. Chairman, thanks very much for joining me this morning.
You bet. Good to be with you. What
is your reaction to this Alvin Bragg indictment of President Trump?
Well, overall, it's ridiculous. I mean, first of all, Mr. Bragg has conceded that he used federal funds. We know that this grew out of the federal, the special counsel investigation, which is federal statute, and most importantly involves a federal election. I mean, here we are, as you indicated, we're 4 months away from the first debate in the primaries for the election to the most important office we have, President of the United States. And so it is ridiculous. I think the American people see it for what it is. I mean, think about it, Maria. Secretary Clinton can destroy 30,000 emails. Joe Biden gets to keep quiet his classified document issue. But with President Trump, they spy on his campaign. They raid his home 91 days before an election. And now they indict him on a campaign finance violation when he didn't even use campaign funds for the transaction in question. So this is ridiculous. The country understands it. And that's why we, 3 different committees, are trying to get information and answers to key questions from District Attorney Bragg.
Yeah, but Congressman, I mean, this is really happening. I mean, Trump is preparing to surrender after this indictment on Tuesday. Now, the Manhattan DA has confirmed that he used federal money in his investigation into this so-called hush payment that was made to Stormy Daniels. Give us the significance of that.
Well, they keep saying, oh, you're not supposed to be involved because, you know, this is a local prosecution decision. And we're saying, well, look, you used federal funds. You conceded that in your response to the letter that myself, Mr. Steil, Mr. Comer sent to you a few days ago. You conceded that. We think this grew out of the special counsel investigation, as I said earlier, which is obviously a federal statute. And maybe most importantly, this involves the most important election we have, the election for President of the United States. Remember, the DOD wouldn't bring the case. That Cy Vance, the previous district attorney, would not bring the case. Even Alvin Bragg himself, even though he campaigned on going after Mr. Trump, President Trump, when he gets elected, he decides not to bring the case. Then 2 of his assistants resign, pitch a fit, get the left all fired up. And maybe most importantly, President Trump announces he's going to run for president. And then suddenly he changes his mind and comes forward with this indictment this past week. So that is, I think, why we have the questions we do and why we've asked Mr. Bragg to sit down with us and answer our questions. And we expect that he will do so. But we'll find out. And what I think is most important, everything is on the table because the American people deserve answers to why a district attorney is doing what I think Kim Strassel in her piece pointed out so clearly, crossing this Rubicon, doing something that has never happened in the history of our great country.
Well, when are you expecting to speak with Alvin Bragg? If he does not come to testify in front of the Judiciary Committee, will you subpoena him?
Everything's on the table, Maria. We're going to talk with the other chairman and look at the response. We just got his letter back. We're reviewing that. But we think that this is here's, I think, maybe the most important thing. We think this is bigger. This involves all of us. I don't think it's an accident that the same week we learned that the IRS knocked on Matt Taibbi's door while he's testifying in Congress, that same week is when we learned a district attorney is going to, a left-wing district attorney, a Soros-backed district attorney is going to go after the former president of the United States. I mean, that is a scary thing. They paid a foreigner. Think about this. They paid a foreigner to put together a fake dossier to spy on President Trump's campaign. The FTC sends letters to Twitter demanding who are the journalists you're talking to. And then, of course, when Matt Taibbi is testifying, the IRS is knocking on his door. And now an indictment of a former president, the guy who happens to be leading in every single poll. This is about all of us. This is about going after anyone who opposes the left's agenda, the establishment's agenda. And that's maybe the most scary thing of all.
Well, you also have right now the bank records that your colleague James Comer has released showing that money did go from Chinese officials tied to the Chinese Communist Party to Rob Walker's account, which is a partner, a former partner of Hunter Biden, and then distributed to Biden family members. So it's all happening around the same time. And what about that? You've got an entire committee about the weaponization of government.
Yeah, and the fundamental question there is what were they getting paid for? What service did they provide? You got these millions of dollars coming into this account. It gets sent out to various members of the Biden family for what? What did they do? What service, what benefit, what work did they do? That's the fundamental question. And that's why Mr. Comer's committee, the Oversight Committee, is looking into this and looking at all these, quote, suspicious activity reports. And I always point out, they're called suspicious activity reports for a reason. There's all kinds of suspicious banking activity going on here. That's what we want to get to the bottom of as well. And again, I come back to this. We talk about it all the time, but this double standard. The idea that think about just the classified document issue. Joe Biden got to keep that quiet in the run-up to the midterm elections, but not President Trump. No. They raided his home 91 days before the election. Hillary Clinton got to destroy emails, but not President Trump. They spy on his campaign, and they indict him now for some crazy alleged campaign finance violation.
Yeah.
It absolutely makes no sense. And again, I think the American people understand it.
Well, we're hearing a lot of upset from the Republicans, but what can you really do about it?
Well, we pointed out, I mean, the key is get the facts on the table. We're doing that with all kinds of issues where we think agencies have been turned against the very people, the American people they're supposed to serve. So you get the facts on the table. And then you look at legislation. Our job, we're legislators. Our job is to pass legislation, write laws, and pass legislation. So we'll look at that. Okay. And maybe most importantly, Maria, is we control the power of the purse. And we're going to have to look at the appropriations process and limit funds going to some of these agencies, particularly the ones who are engaged in the most egregious behavior.
So the DOJ and the FBI.
Yeah, and what I'd really like, frankly, I'd really like for the government just to stay out of the election process. Yeah. 2016, they spied on his campaign. 2018, the Mueller investigation. 2020, they suppressed the Hunter Biden story. 2022, they raid his home 91 days before an election.
Wow.
And now, the leading candidate for president of the United States, 2024 election, they indict the former president and the top candidate who's leading in every poll. Just let we, the people, decide who we want to elect and stay out of the election process, for goodness sake.
All right, Mr. Chairman, thanks very much. Chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, Congressman Jim Jordan, thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.